Chapter 1. Forgotten Milestone. Dominic Reeves stared at the empty living room, decorated with half-hearted streamers and a store-bought cake with Happy 40th written in blue icing. 6 chairs sat empty around the dining table, each place setting meticulously arranged that morning while his family was supposedly running errands. The grandfather clock in the hall struck 8, its chimes echoing through the vacant house. 3 hours. He'd waited 3 hours for them to return. Dominic pulled out his phone, scrolling through unanswered texts to his wife, Allison, and their 2 children, 19-year-old Cassandra and 16-year-old Preston. "Where are you guys? The food's getting cold. Is everything okay? Please call me." He'd even called his sister-in-law, Bethany, who answered with obvious discomfort before claiming she had no idea where they might be. The lie was so transparent Dominic almost laughed. 2 decades ago, Dominic had been a struggling contractor with ambitious dreams. Now he was the founder and CEO of Reeve Construction, a multi-million-dollar commercial development company that had built half the shopping centers in the county. Despite his demanding schedule, he'd never missed a single birthday, anniversary, or school event. Family had always come first, until now, apparently. His phone buzzed. A text from Preston. "Sorry, Dad. Mom said we're running late. Be home soon." More lies. Dominic had installed a tracking app on Preston's phone months ago after catching him sneaking out to parties. According to the app, his son was currently at the Harbor View Hotel, a luxury resort 20 miles away. Dominic poured himself 3 fingers of bourbon and opened Instagram. He hadn't checked social media all day, too busy preparing for a celebration that would never happen. The first post in his feed stopped him cold. It was from Cassandra's account. A group photo in what appeared to be a lavish hotel ballroom. His daughter, son, wife, and at least 30 other people, friends, extended family, and several of his business associates, all dressed in formal attire, raising champagne glasses around an elaborate 3-tiered cake. The caption read, "Mom's 37th birthday bash. #best night ever." Dominic zoomed in. Behind Allison stood Theo Bradford, his wife's tennis instructor, standing much too close, his hand resting possessively on the small of her back. As Dominic scrolled through more photos, the pieces fell into place. His wife's sudden interest in tennis 6 months ago. The late-night strategy sessions with her new business partner. The mysterious weekend conferences. The gradual emotional distance. His phone buzzed again with a notification from Venmo. A request from Cassandra Reeves, $1,800. The description read, "Mom's 37th birthday, your share." No apology. No explanation. Just a bill. Dominic stared at his phone, a cold rage crystallizing in his chest. 20 years of marriage. 2 children he'd raised and loved. A life built from nothing through backbreaking work and sacrifice. And this was what it amounted to. He finished his bourbon in one burning swallow and opened his laptop. First, he transferred half the money from their joint accounts to a new account under only his name. Then he called a locksmith. By midnight, when his family finally returned home, laughing until they saw his car in the driveway, the locks had been changed, the security codes reset, and Dominic was just getting started. "Dad," Preston called through the door. "We can't get in. Dad's probably asleep," he heard Allison say. "Use your key." "I am. It's not working." Dominic sent Cassandra a Venmo payment of exactly $1 with a single word in the description. "Congratulations." Then he turned off his phone, closed his eyes, and began a plan. Chapter 2. Paper Trail. The following morning, Dominic sat in the office of Valerie Ortiz, the best divorce attorney in the state. Her reputation for ruthlessness had earned her the nickname the Executioner among the legal community. "They spent the night at the Bradford residence," said Dominic, sliding a folder across the desk. "My wife and children. After I changed the locks." Valerie opened the folder, examining the photos inside. Images captured by the private investigator Dominic had hired 3 months ago when his suspicions about Allison first arose. "You've been planning this for some time," Valerie observed. "I wanted to be wrong," Dominic replied. "I gave her every opportunity to come clean. Instead, she escalated." The photos showed Allison and Theo in various compromising positions over the past months. Lunch dates, clandestine meetings in hotel lobbies, a passionate kiss in the parking garage of her office building. The most damning evidence is financial, Dominic continued. She's been siphoning money from our joint accounts for months. Small amounts at first, then larger transfers. Over $200,000 in total. Valerie raised an eyebrow. To Mr. Bradford? To a shell company he created 6 months ago. Ostensibly a wellness retreat business they were launching together. Dominic's laugh was hollow. The only service they provided was to each other. And your children? Cassandra knows everything. She's been helping her mother cover her tracks, probably in exchange for financial support. Preston, I'm not sure how much he understands. Valerie reviewed the documents methodically. Your wife organized this birthday party at the Harborview? That must have cost $64,000, Dominic finished. She invited 48 guests, charged them each $1,800, then pocketed the difference. The actual cost per person was around $750. So she profited from her own birthday party, while excluding me from it entirely. Dominic leaned forward. I want everything, Valerie. The house, the business, full custody of Preston. And I want Allison and Theo to pay for every lie they've told. Legally, we can. I'm not just talking about legal remedies. Dominic's eyes were cold. I built my life from nothing. I can rebuild again if necessary. But I will not let them walk away unscathed. Valerie studied him carefully. There are lines we cannot cross, Mr. Reeves. I understand. Dominic stood. Please prepare the divorce papers immediately. I'll handle the rest. As he left the office, his phone buzzed with a text from Allison. We need to talk. Where are you staying? He didn't respond. Instead, he called his most trusted employee, Luis Mendoza. I need information on Theo Bradford, he said without preamble. Everything you can find. Tax records, property holdings, business dealings. Legal or otherwise. Consider it done, Luis replied. And your family? I don't have a family anymore. Dominic ended the call and headed to his next appointment with the bank manager who had approved Allison's home equity line of credit without Dominic's knowledge. By evening, Dominic had frozen every account Allison had access to, removed her as an authorized user on all credit cards, and instructed his company's payroll department to redirect his salary to his new private account. When he checked into the Four Seasons under a false name that night, he had one more call to make. Solomon, he greeted his old college roommate, now a cybersecurity expert. I need a favor that you can never tell anyone about. Chapter 3, Ghost Protocol. 2 days later, Dominic sat in a nondescript rental car outside Bradford Tennis Academy, watching his wife arrive for her lesson. From his vantage point in the parking lot, he could see Theo greeting her with a kiss that lingered far too long for instructor and student. His phone buzzed with an incoming call from Preston. Dad, where are you? Mom's freaking out. She says you've emptied the accounts. Not emptied. Secured, Dominic corrected. How are you doing, son? I'm scared. Cassandra's saying you've lost your mind. Mom's been crying all day. Preston's voice cracked. What's going on? Ask your mother about her tennis instructor, Dominic said evenly. Ask her why she threw a $60,000 birthday party without inviting her husband. Ask your sister why she thought it was appropriate to bill me for it afterward. Silence hung on the line. I didn't know about the party until that night. Preston finally said, his voice small. Mom said you were away on business. When I saw you weren't there, I tried to call, but Cassandra took my phone. A pang of sympathy pierced Dominic's armor. I'm sorry you're caught in the middle of this, Preston. Can I see you? Please. Not yet. Things need to play out first. Mom went to the police this morning, Preston blurted. She reported you as a missing person. Said she's afraid you might hurt yourself. Dominic nearly laughed. Did she mention that she's been having an affair? That she locked me out of my own house? She told the police you've been acting erratic for months. That you've been paranoid, accusing her of things. Preston hesitated. They seemed concerned. So that was her play. Paint him as unstable. Build a narrative that he was having some kind of breakdown. Preston, listen carefully. I'm perfectly fine. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in months. But your mother is trying to get ahead of the story. What story? The one where she's been cheating on me with Theo Bradford for at least 6 months. The one where she's stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars from our family. The one where your sister has become her accomplice. Another silence. I saw some texts on Mom's phone. Preston admitted finally. Between her and Mr. Bradford. They were not about tennis. Keep this conversation between us, Dominic instructed. For now, just go along with whatever they say. Act normal. Can you do that? Yeah. Preston agreed quietly. Are you coming home soon? Not to that house. But I promise we'll see each other soon. Dominic ended the call as a police cruiser pulled into his driveway across town, visible on the home security app on his tablet. Right on schedule. He watched through the home's exterior cameras as two officers approached the front door. Solomon's hack into the home system gave Dominic complete remote access while preventing anyone else from viewing the feeds. The officers knocked, then peered through windows. One of them spoke into his radio, presumably reporting that the residence appeared empty with no signs of disturbance. Dominic switched cameras to view the backyard, where the officers were now examining the doors and windows. Finding everything secure, they eventually returned to their vehicle and departed. His phone immediately rang. Allison calling for the 20th time that day. He declined the call and opened the text from Solomon. System in place. All communications intercepted. Location tracking active on all devices. Bank alerts set up. You'll know every move they make. Dominic replied. Time for phase 2. He started the rental car and drove to his next destination. The office of Marlene Kovacs, the private investigator who had been documenting Allison and Theo's affair. I need more, he told her without preamble. Not just their relationship. I need everything on Bradford. Business dealings, gambling habits, tax situations, legal troubles, former relationships, the works. Marlene nodded. My sources indicate he's not as successful as he appears. The academy is hemorrhaging money. He's leveraged to the hilt. So he needs my wife's money, Dominic concluded. Or rather, my money. Exactly. And there's something else. Marlene handed him a file. Bradford has a pattern. This is the third wealthy married woman he's become involved with. The previous two divorced their husbands, liquidated significant assets to invest in ventures with Bradford, then found themselves abruptly single and significantly poorer within a year. Dominic flipped through the documentation, his jaw tightening. He's a professional predator, essentially, but he's never been charged with anything. He's careful. Everyone makes mistakes, Dominic said, closing the file. Find me his. That evening, as Dominic worked from his hotel room, an alert from Solomon's tracking system pinged his laptop. Allison, Cassandra, and Theo were all converging on the local police station. Right on cue, his burner phone rang, a number he didn't recognize. Mr. Reeves? This is Officer Daniel Hartman with the Metro Police Department. Your wife has reported you missing. She's quite concerned. I'm not missing, Officer Hartman. I'm voluntarily absent. Would you be willing to come to the station to confirm that in person? Just to clear things up. Of course, Dominic agreed pleasantly. I'd be happy to explain exactly why I've chosen to distance myself from my wife. An hour later, Dominic walked into the police station, immaculately dressed in a tailored suit. As he entered, he saw Allison, red-eyed and playing the part of the distraught wife, with Cassandra at her side. Theo lurked in the background, trying to appear concerned yet detached. The performance ended the moment they saw him. Dominic, Allison gasped, her manufactured distress instantly replaced with shock. Officer Hartman looked between them, confusion evident. Mrs. Reeves, your husband appears to be fine. I never said he wasn't. Allison recovered quickly. I said he was missing. He disappeared without a word, cleaned out our accounts. Actually, Dominic interrupted, I'd like to file a report of my own. Financial fraud, identity theft, and adultery. Though I understand that last one isn't technically a crime anymore. As Allison's face paled, Dominic smiled for the first time in days. The game had begun. Chapter 4, Countermoves. What exactly are you accusing your wife of, Mr. Reeves? Officer Hartman asked, leading Dominic to an interview room while another officer remained with Allison, Cassandra, and Theo in a waiting area. Dominic placed a thick folder on the table. My wife has been systematically transferring funds from our joint accounts to a shell corporation established by her lover, Theo Bradford. She forged my signature on a home equity line of credit application. She used my business contacts to solicit donations for her birthday party under false pretenses. Officer Hartman leafed through the documents, his expression growing more serious with each page. These are serious allegations. They're documented facts, Dominic corrected. My attorney has already begun civil proceedings, but I believe some of these actions constitute criminal fraud. And you haven't been coercive or threatening toward your wife. I changed the locks on my house after discovering her infidelity and financial deception. I protected my assets by transferring funds to secure accounts. I temporarily ceased communication while gathering evidence. None of those actions are illegal. The officer studied him. Why not just divorce her and be done with it? Because this isn't just about a failed marriage, Dominic explained coldly. My wife and Mr. Bradford have been systematically targeting my finances, my reputation, and my relationship with my children. Now they're attempting to paint me as mentally unstable to gain advantage in upcoming legal proceedings. I won't allow that narrative to stand. After nearly an hour of detailed questioning, Officer Hartman escorted Dominic back to the waiting area, where Allison immediately launched into a performance. "Dom, we've been so worried," she cried, attempting to embrace him. "Why would you disappear like that? Why would you lock us out of our home?" Dominic stepped back, avoiding her touch. "Officer Hartman has copies of the evidence now. Allison, I suggest you find a good criminal defense attorney." Theo stepped forward. "Look, man, I don't know what you think is happening." "Mr. Bradford," Dominic cut him off, "I've documented 37 instances of you and my wife engaging in extramarital activities over the past 6 months. I have records of $217,000 transferred from my family's accounts to your shell corporation. I know about the other women, Patricia Wilson and Eleanor Greer. I know your pattern." The color drained from Theo's face. Cassandra inserted herself between them. "Dad, you're embarrassing yourself. Mom and Theo are business partners. And you," Dominic turned to his daughter, "billing me $1,800 for a party I wasn't invited to? That was a special touch." "It was a surprise party," Cassandra stammered. "You were supposed to—" "Save it," Dominic interrupted. "The guest list is in that folder. My name isn't on it." Officer Hartman cleared his throat. "I think we've established that Mr. Reeves is not missing or in danger. The rest of these matters appear to be civil disputes." "Precisely," Dominic agreed, "which is why I'll be leaving now. Please inform Mrs. Reeves that all communication should go through our respective attorneys moving forward." As Dominic walked toward the exit, Allison rushed after him. "Where are you going? What about Preston? He needs his father." "Preston is welcome to contact me directly anytime," Dominic replied without slowing. "Unlike the rest of you. He hasn't lied to my face or stolen from me." Outside, Dominic found Preston waiting in Allison's car, his expression a mixture of relief and anxiety. "Dad," Dominic hugged his son tightly. "I'm okay, Preston. This situation is complicated, but I promise I'm okay. Mom said you're having some kind of breakdown. Your mother is trying to protect herself," Dominic said carefully. "There are things happening that you don't fully understand yet." "Then help me understand," Preston pleaded. "Everyone's lying to me." Dominic glanced toward the police station, where Allison, Cassandra, and Theo were emerging, their faces thunderous. "Not here," he said quietly. "I'll text you later. We'll meet somewhere private." As Dominic walked to his rental car, he felt Allison's eyes boring into his back. The wounded spouse act hadn't worked with the police. She would try something else next. He was counting on it. Chapter 5. Bait and Switch. The following morning, Dominic met Preston at a diner 20 miles outside town. His son looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes. "Mom and Cassandra were fighting all night," Preston explained, sipping the coffee Dominic had ordered for him. "Cassandra keeps saying they need to neutralize you before the divorce." "Neutralize?" Dominic raised an eyebrow. "Her words, not mine. They don't know I can hear them." Preston lowered his voice. "I've been recording their conversations." Dominic felt a surge of pride, mixed with sadness that his son had been forced into such a position. "That shows initiative, but be careful. I don't want you putting yourself at risk." "Is it true? About Mom and Mr. Bradford?" Dominic nodded slowly. "I'm afraid so. And the money? Also true." They've been planning this for months, possibly longer. Preston stared into his coffee. What about Cassandra? How long has she known? Based on text messages Solomon recovered, at least 4 months. She was promised a condo in Malibu and tuition for graduate school in exchange for her cooperation. She sold you out for a condo? Preston looked horrified. People rationalize betrayal in many ways, Dominic said gently. Your sister probably tells herself, I deserve it somehow. What happens now? Now you go back home and pretend we never had this conversation. But I want you to pack a bag with your important belongings, documents, favorite possessions, anything irreplaceable, and hide it somewhere secure. Why? Because things are going to get worse before they get better, Dominic explained. And I need to know you're prepared. After Preston left, Dominic called Luis. It's confirmed, Luis reported. Bradford has approached 3 of your major clients, claiming you're having personal issues that might impact upcoming projects. He's offering to connect them with more stable contractors. Perfect, Dominic said. Proceed with the next phase. By noon, Dominic had met with each of those clients personally, explaining that a family situation was being weaponized against him by a competitor. He provided documentation of Bradford's financial difficulties and pattern of targeting wealthy married women. All 3 clients not only recommitted to Reeves Construction, but agreed to feed Bradford false information about their supposed concerns with Dominic's stability. The trap was being set. That afternoon, Dominic received a text from Solomon, A&T accessing financial records, looking for hidden accounts. They wouldn't find any. The money Dominic had secured was now flowing through a complex network of temporary holding companies established years ago as a contingency plan. Dominic had always believed in preparing for worst-case scenarios, a habit developed during his impoverished childhood when his own father had abandoned the family, leaving them destitute. His next stop was the Harbor View Hotel, where Allison's extravagant birthday party had been held. The event manager, Howard Lassiter, greeted him warmly. Mr. Reeves, I was surprised you couldn't attend your wife's celebration. She said you were called away on business. That's actually why I'm here, Howard. I recently discovered some irregularities in the billing for that event. Howard frowned. Everything was paid in full. Mrs. Reeves handled it personally. I'm sure she did. Would you mind sharing the actual cost of the event? For my records. After some hesitation and a gentle reminder about the substantial business Reeves Construction had brought to the hotel over the years, Howard pulled up the invoice, $36,422. And guests were charged $1,800 each, Dominic noted. For 48 attendees, that's $86,400. Quite a profit margin. Howard looked uncomfortable. I wasn't aware of any guest contributions. No, you wouldn't be. That was handled privately. Dominic smiled reassuringly. I'm not blaming you, Howard, but I would appreciate copies of all documentation related to the event. For my divorce proceedings. The word divorce opened all necessary doors. By the time Dominic left, he had complete records of every detail Allison had planned, including her specific instruction that Dominic was not to be admitted to the party under any circumstances, even if he somehow learned about it. Back in his hotel room, Dominic reviewed the day's developments with Solomon via secure video call. They're getting desperate, Solomon reported. Allison tried to access your email accounts, but couldn't get past the new security. Bradford called 3 banks trying to find your new accounts. Cassandra has been contacting your former employees, looking for dirt. And Preston, clean so far. No suspicious communications. He seems to be keeping his word. Dominic nodded, relieved. What about the offshore transfers? Bradford made initial inquiries this morning. Our false trail is in place. The Cayman account looks legitimate, complete with believable banking history. If he tries to access it, we'll have him on attempted financial fraud, Dominic finished. Keep monitoring. I want to know the moment they take the bait. 3 hours later, the alert came. Bradford had attempted to access the fabricated offshore account using credentials purposely left on a decoy laptop in Dominic's home office safe, the combination of which Allison knew. Dominic immediately called Valerie Ortiz. We've got him, he said without preamble. Attempted unauthorized access to a financial account. The system captured his IP address, device information, everything. Do you want to press charges immediately? Valerie asked. Not yet, Dominic replied. Let's see how deep they'll dig their own graves first. Chapter 6. The Turning Point. A week into Dominic's calculated absence, the first cracks in Allison's coalition began to show. Solomon's surveillance revealed increasingly tense conversations between Allison and Theo, primarily centered around money. She's burning through cash faster than expected, Solomon explained during their morning briefing. The credit cards are all declined now. Bradford's Academy payroll is due tomorrow, and he's short by almost $30,000. Has he tried accessing the Cayman account again? 3 more attempts, Solomon confirmed. Each one meticulously logged. He's getting sloppy. Last night, he spent 4 hours searching for ways to bypass banking security protocols. His search history is incriminating. Dominic smiled grimly. And Cassandra? She's demanding her promised condo and tuition money. Apparently, she's already signed a lease based on her mother's guarantees. Everything was proceeding according to plan. Financial pressure was the first step in fracturing their alliance. Dominic's phone buzzed with a text from Preston. Mom's meeting with some guy today. Says he's a reputation management consultant. What does that mean? It means they're planning to destroy my public image, Dominic replied. Can you get a name? 20 minutes later, Preston sent a photo of a business card. Fletcher Mills, crisis management specialist. Dominic immediately relayed the information to Luis, who set to work investigating Mills. By afternoon, they had a complete profile. Former tabloid journalist turned PR fixer, specializing in crafting sympathetic narratives for wealthy clients facing public scandal. His usual approach is to place strategic stories with former media colleagues, Luis reported, painting clients as victims while subtly undermining their opponents. Perfect, Dominic murmured. Have Marlene approach him. Same cover story we discussed. That evening, Marlene Kovacs met Fletcher Mills at an upscale bar across town, posing as a wealth management advisor concerned about a client being manipulated by an unscrupulous contractor named Dominic Reeves. The seeds of doubt were planted. Meanwhile, Dominic arranged to meet with several of Allison's closest friends, women who had attended the birthday party and received the subsequent Venmo requests. He approached each meeting with calculated vulnerability, expressing confusion and hurt rather than anger. I just want to understand what happened, he told Jennifer Palmer, Allison's maid of honor from their wedding. One day, I'm planning my 40th birthday. The next, I discover my wife is celebrating without me and charging our friends for the privilege. Jennifer shifted uncomfortably. Allison said the party was her idea, but that you approved everything. She said you were handling the finances. Did you think it was strange that I wasn't there? She told us you had an emergency project crisis, that you were devastated to miss it. Dominic nodded thoughtfully. And the $1,800 charge? Did that seem reasonable for a birthday dinner? Jennifer hesitated. It seemed high, but Allison said it included a charitable donation to that wellness retreat she's launching with her tennis coach. Interesting. Dominic slid across his phone, showing Jennifer the actual hotel invoice. The real cost was about $750 per person. As Jennifer's expression shifted from confusion to dawning comprehension, Dominic knew he had another ally. By week's end, he had spoken with 12 of Allison's closest friends, systematically dismantling her social support network with nothing but documented facts and gentle questions. The isolation strategy was working. On day 10 of his strategic absence, Dominic received an urgent call from Preston. Dad, they're planning something big. Mr. Bradford's moving into our house tonight. Mom says they're accelerating their timeline because of your aggressive tactics. They're meeting with some doctor tomorrow morning. What kind of doctor? Dominic asked, already suspecting the answer. A psychiatrist. I heard Mom practicing what she's going to say. She's going to claim you've been abusive and paranoid for years, that you're having some kind of breakdown. Trying to build a case for an involuntary psychiatric hold, Dominic concluded. Bold move. What do we do? We? Nothing. You maintain your cover. I'll handle this. Dominic paused. Actually, there's something you can do. Make sure you're present for that meeting if possible. Record everything. I will, Preston promised. Dad, be careful. After ending the call, Dominic immediately contacted Valerie. They're escalating to psychiatric claims, he informed her. I need preemptive measures. Already in motion, Valerie assured him. I've filed for emergency hearing regarding the financial fraud. Judge Wentworth is sympathetic. He's experienced similar tactics in his own divorce. More importantly, I've arranged for you to meet with Dr. Eleanor Chin tomorrow morning. She's a respected forensic psychiatrist who can evaluate you and document your mental stability. Excellent, Dominic approved. And the financial trap? Bradford accessed the fake Cayman account 4 more times today, each attempt more aggressive than the last. He's trying to transfer funds now, not just view balances. We have everything documented. Perfect timing, Dominic said. Prepare the injunction papers. We move tomorrow. That night, as Dominic finalized details with his team, he received an unexpected video call request from Cassandra. After a moment's hesitation, he accepted. His daughter's face appeared, tear-streaked and desperate. Dad, I need to talk to you. I'm listening, Dominic replied, keeping his expression neutral. Everything's falling apart, she blurted. Mr. Bradford moved in today, and he's not who Mom said he was. He's controlling and mean when no one's watching. He called me a spoiled brat when I asked about my condo money. The money that was promised to you for betraying your father? Dominic asked calmly. Cassandra flinched. I didn't see it that way at first. Mom said you were financially abusive, that you controlled everything, that this was her only chance for independence. And now I don't know what to believe, she admitted. But Bradford threatened Preston tonight when Preston questioned why he was using your office. Actually grabbed him by the shirt. Dominic's expression hardened. Is Preston okay? He's locked in his room. Bradford took his phone. Cassandra wiped her eyes. Dad, I'm scared. Mom's not acting like herself. She's letting Bradford make all the decisions. Why are you telling me this, Cassandra? What do you want from me? She hesitated. I want out. I was wrong. I'm sorry. Dominic studied his daughter's face, looking for signs of deception. Your mother and Bradford are meeting with a psychiatrist tomorrow to build a case against me. Did you know about that? Cassandra nodded miserably. It was Bradford's idea. He said it was the fastest way to get control of everything. And you were okay with having your father forcibly committed to a psychiatric facility based on lies? No. I didn't think it would go that far. She looked away. I just wanted Mom to be happy. And I wanted the condo, the tuition money. Yes, she whispered. It was stupid and selfish. I see that now. Dominic sighed. If you truly want to make amends, I need something from you. Anything. Evidence. I need you to record Bradford admitting to his financial motivations. I need documentation of his plans regarding me. Can you do that? Cassandra nodded determinedly. Already started. After what happened with Preston, I installed a recording app on my phone. I have Bradford saying they need to neutralize you before you destroy everything. For the first time in days, Dominic felt a glimmer of hope for his daughter. Send everything to this email, he instructed, typing an address into the chat function. Then pack a bag, essentials only. Be ready to leave at a moment's notice. What are you going to do? End this, Dominic replied. Once and for all. Chapter 7. Spring the Trap. Dominic arrived at the courthouse at 8:30 a.m., immaculately dressed and flanked by Valerie Ortiz and Dr. Eleanor Chun, the forensic psychiatrist who had evaluated him that morning. Your mental status is entirely stable, Dr. Chun had concluded. You're understandably distressed by the betrayal you've experienced, but your thinking remains logical and your actions proportionate to the situation. Judge Leonard Wentworth, a stern man in his 60s, had agreed to hear Dominic's emergency petition regarding the financial fraud and potential psychiatric manipulation before Allison could implement her own strategy. At precisely 9 a.m., the bailiff called the case. As planned, neither Allison, Bradford, nor their attorney knew about this hearing. A legal maneuver Valerie had orchestrated through her connections with the court clerk. Your Honor, Valerie began. We're seeking emergency injunctive relief on behalf of Mr. Dominic Reeves, who has documented evidence of systematic financial fraud perpetrated by his wife, Allison Reeves, and her paramour, Theodore Bradford. Judge Wentworth reviewed the documentation carefully. These are serious allegations. Counselor, why the emergency filing without notice to opposing parties? Because as we speak, Mrs. Reeves and Mr. Bradford are meeting with a psychiatrist to fabricate claims of mental instability against my client, a transparent attempt to gain control of his assets and prevent him from defending himself against their fraud. Dominic presented evidence methodically. Bank statements showing unauthorized transfers, the fake Cayman account access logs with Bradford's digital fingerprints all over them, recordings Cassandra had provided of Bradford discussing their need to lock Dominic up before he could ruin everything. Dr. Chin testified to Dominic's mental stability and the disturbing pattern of gaslighting evident in the recorded conversations. By 10:30 a.m., Judge Wentworth had seen enough. "I'm granting the emergency injunction," he declared. "Mrs. Reeves and Mr. Bradford are hereby prohibited from accessing any accounts or property belonging to Mr. Reeves. Furthermore, I'm issuing a restraining order preventing them from making any public or private claims regarding Mr. Reeves' mental health without evaluation by a court-appointed psychiatrist." As they exited the courtroom, Dominic received a text from Preston. They just left the doctor's office. "Bradford's talking about going to the police this afternoon. Mom looks scared." Phase 2, Dominic told Valerie, who immediately made a call. 30 minutes later, as Allison and Bradford returned to the Reeves residence, they were met by 2 police officers and a court officer serving the emergency injunction and restraining order. From his position across the street, Dominic watched through binoculars as Bradford's face contorted with rage. Even from this distance, he could see the man gesturing wildly, shouting at the officers while Allison seemed to shrink beside him. His phone buzzed, Cassandra calling. "Bradford's losing it," she reported, her voice a hushed whisper. "He's screaming at Mom, saying she ruined everything by not acting faster. The police are still here." "Where are you?" Dominic asked. "Upstairs bathroom. Preston's with me." Bradford shoved him when Preston tried to talk to the officers. He put his hands on Preston again. Dominic's voice went dangerously quiet. "Yes, not hard, but definitely aggressive. Stay where you are. Lock the door." Dominic ended the call and dialed Officer Hartman directly. "My son just reported that Theodore Bradford physically assaulted him in my residence," he said without preamble. "My daughter witnessed it. They're currently hiding in an upstairs bathroom." Within minutes, additional police units arrived at the house. Dominic watched as Bradford was separated from Allison and questioned intensively. When one officer went upstairs, presumably to speak with Preston and Cassandra, Dominic knew it was time to make his move. He walked calmly across the street, approaching his home for the first time in almost 2 weeks. As he neared, Officer Hartman spotted him and moved to intercept. "Mr. Reeves, this is an active police matter. I need you to—" "That's my son who was assaulted," Dominic said firmly. "I'm going to see him now." Before Hartman could object, Preston burst from the front door. "Dad!" Dominic embraced his son, checking him over for injuries. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Preston assured him. "Bradford just pushed me. The cops are taking my statement." Cassandra appeared next, her expression a mixture of relief and shame as she approached her father. "Dad, I'm so sorry. For everything." Dominic's expression remained neutral. "We'll discuss your role in all this later. Right now, I need you both to pack essential belongings. You're not staying here tonight." Allison chose that moment to emerge from the house, her carefully applied makeup streaked with tears. "Dominic, thank God you're here. Theo's been arrested. This is all a terrible misunderstanding." "Save it, Allison." Dominic cut her off coldly. "The children are coming with me. The court has granted me temporary custody pending investigation of the fraud allegations." "What fraud allegations? What are you talking about?" She looked genuinely confused, which confirmed Dominic's suspicion that Bradford had kept her in the dark about some of his more aggressive financial maneuvers. "The $60,000 you and Bradford stole from our friends at your birthday party," Dominic began. "The $200,000 you transferred to his shell company. The home equity line of credit you forged my signature on. The offshore account he tried to hack into." He smiled thinly. "That last one was a trap, by the way. There was never any money there, just digital breadcrumbs for him to follow right into a felony charge." Allison's face crumpled. "I never meant for any of this to happen. Theo said it was all legal, that we were just securing assets before telling you about us." By throwing a birthday party I wasn't invited to? By having our daughter bill me for it afterward? By reporting me as a missing person when I withdrew from your betrayal? Those were Theo's ideas, she protested weakly. He said we needed leverage, and you went along with all of it, Dominic noted. Every lie, every manipulation, every betrayal. Officer Hartman approached. Mr. Reeves, we've arrested Mr. Bradford for attempted financial fraud and assault. We found multiple devices in his possession containing evidence of attempts to access your accounts. Mrs. Reeves is not under arrest at this time, but she's a person of interest in our investigation. Understood, Dominic nodded. My children will be staying with me tonight. Is there any legal reason they cannot leave with me now? No, sir. The emergency custody order covers that. Dominic turned to Preston and Cassandra. Get your things. We're leaving in 10 minutes. As his children went upstairs to pack, Dominic faced Allison one last time. 19 years, he said quietly. 19 years I gave you everything I had. I built a company from nothing so you could have the life you wanted. I worked 80-hour weeks so you could have your tennis lessons and spa days and charity luncheons. Dominic, please. And in return, you plotted against me. You stole from me. You turned our daughter against me. You planned to have me committed to a psychiatric facility so you could take everything I built. Tears streamed down Allison's face. I made a terrible mistake. We can fix this. No, Dominic said simply. We can't. There's nothing left to fix. As Preston and Cassandra returned with their bags, Dominic put an arm around each of them and led them toward his waiting car, leaving Allison alone on the front steps of the house she would soon lose. The first phase of his reckoning was complete. Chapter 8, Scorched Earth. The following weeks unfolded exactly as Dominic had planned. Bradford remained in custody, unable to make the substantial bail set by Judge Wentworth after prosecutors added charges of conspiracy to commit fraud, attempted extortion, and witness tampering based on his threatening messages to Cassandra. Allison, faced with impending financial ruin and potential criminal charges of her own, hired a desperate attorney who immediately sought a settlement conference. They're offering to drop all claims to your business and personal assets, Valerie reported during their strategy meeting. In exchange, they want the marital home, a one-time payment of $2 million, and for you to decline pressing criminal charges against Allison. Dominic leaned back in his chair. Counter with this. Allison gets nothing except her personal belongings and clothing. She signs a full confession detailing her role in the fraud scheme. In exchange, I'll write a letter to the prosecutor recommending leniency. She'll never agree to that, Valerie warned. She will when she realizes the alternative is prison, Dominic replied calmly. Bradford is going down regardless. His pattern of targeting wealthy women is too established to ignore now that we've connected the dots. Allison's only hope is to position herself as another victim. Meanwhile, Dominic had moved Preston and Cassandra into a luxury apartment downtown while maintaining ownership of the family home. Preston had adjusted well, relieved to be away from the toxic environment. Cassandra's situation was more complex. I don't deserve your forgiveness, she told Dominic one evening as they sat on the apartment balcony overlooking the city. I betrayed you for money and status. Yes, you did, Dominic agreed, his tone matter-of-fact rather than accusatory. The question is what you've learned from it. Cassandra stared at her hands. That loyalty matters more than material things. That people who offer quick riches in exchange for betrayal can't be trusted. That I threw away something precious for something worthless. Good lessons, Dominic nodded. Expensive ones, too. What happens now? With me, I mean. Dominic studied his daughter's face, searching for sincerity. That depends on you. I've arranged for the remainder of your tuition to be paid through a trust. You'll receive a modest monthly allowance for living expenses. The rest, including rebuilding our relationship, will take time and consistent effort on your part. And Mom? What's going to happen to her? Your mother made choices, Dominic said evenly. Now she'll face consequences. 2 days later, Allison's attorney called Valerie with their response to Dominic's counteroffer. Allison would accept his terms with one modification. She wanted ongoing access to Preston. Her parental rights are not negotiable, her attorney insisted. Dominic considered this. Preston, despite everything, still loved his mother. Complete severance would only hurt him. Limited supervised visitation, Dominic conceded. Once weekly, in a public location for 6 months. After that, we reassess based on Preston's wishes. The deal was struck. Allison signed a comprehensive confession detailing how Bradford had systematically manipulated her into betraying Dominic, though she acknowledged her own willing participation once the affair began. She admitted to the birthday party scheme, the financial fraud, and the planned psychiatric commitment. In exchange, Dominic wrote a carefully worded letter to the prosecutor, suggesting that while Allison should face appropriate legal consequences, her cooperation in building the case against Bradford should be considered a mitigating factor. The prosecutor ultimately charged Allison with misdemeanor fraud and placed her on probation for 3 years. She was ordered to make restitution to the birthday party guests she had overcharged, plus perform 500 hours of community service. Bradford, facing more serious charges and with no one willing to support his defense, accepted a plea deal: 5 years in prison for financial fraud, plus restitution to his previous victims. As for Fletcher Mills, the reputation management consultant, who had planned to smear Dominic in the media, he found himself abruptly blacklisted after Marlene Kovacs leaked evidence of his less ethical tactics to several industry watchdogs. By month's end, Dominic had reclaimed control of every aspect of his life. His business was thriving, with several new major contracts signed after clients heard about his strategic handling of personal adversity. His relationship with Preston was stronger than ever, and even Cassandra was showing genuine remorse and effort toward redemption. Only one loose end remained. Chapter 9. Ashes and Rebirth. 6 months after the fateful birthday party no one attended, Dominic stood in the master bedroom of the family home, surveying the space that had once represented his American dream. The movers had taken the last of the furniture that morning. Tomorrow, new owners would take possession, a young couple starting their own journey, blissfully unaware of the betrayal these walls had witnessed. His phone buzzed with a text from Solomon. Paperwork complete. Transfer executed. She'll receive notification by end of day. Dominic smiled grimly. The final piece of his plan was in motion. That afternoon, as he signed the closing documents at his attorney's office, Allison was receiving formal notice that the generous divorce settlement she thought she negotiated, a small apartment and modest monthly payments, had been contingent on strict behavioral requirements outlined in the fine print. Her recent actions, specifically attempting to contact Dominic's clients with disparaging claims and establishing a GoFundMe page portraying herself as a victim of financial abuse, had triggered the nullification clause. Effective immediately, all support payments ceased, and she had 30 days to vacate the apartment. Isn't that somewhat excessive? Valerie asked cautiously as Dominic explained the situation. Not at all, Dominic replied calmly. I gave her a clear path to a dignified new beginning. She chose instead to continue attacking me. Actions have consequences. Later that evening, as Dominic hosted a small dinner at his new home for Preston, Cassandra, and a few loyal friends who had stood by him throughout the ordeal, his phone rang with an unfamiliar number. Mr. Reeves? A tentative female voice asked when he answered. This is Patricia Wilson. We've never met, but you exposed Theodore Bradford's scheme. I was one of his previous victims. I'm aware of your situation, Ms. Wilson, Dominic acknowledged. I'm sorry for what you experienced. No, I'm calling to thank you, she corrected. The restitution Bradford was ordered to pay, it saved my life. I was about to lose my home after what he took from me. Similar calls came the following days from Bradford's other victims. Dominic listened to each one, offering practical advice on rebuilding after financial devastation, something he understood intimately from his own childhood experiences. 1 month later, Dominic launched the Phoenix Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting victims of relationship-based financial fraud. Using his business acumen and network, he created a system offering legal aid, financial counseling, and temporary support for those rebuilding their lives after betrayal. Preston eagerly joined the Foundation's youth outreach program, helping young people from broken homes navigate their new realities. Even Cassandra, having transferred to a local university to be closer to family, volunteered her weekends to the cause. As for Allison, her final attempt at reconciliation came on a rainy Tuesday, exactly 1 year after Dominic's unattended birthday party. She appeared at his office unannounced, thinner and without the designer clothes and perfect makeup that had once been her armor. "Just 5 minutes," she pleaded with his assistant. "I just need 5 minutes." Against his better judgment, Dominic agreed to see her. "You've done well," she observed, looking around his expansive new office. "The foundation, the business expansion. Everyone speaks highly of you." "What do you want, Allison?" Dominic asked directly. "Forgiveness," she answered simply. "Or at least understanding. I've lost everything. My home, my reputation, my children's respect. I'm working as a receptionist at a dentist's office. I live in a studio apartment." "You made choices," Dominic reminded her, unmoved. "These are the consequences." "I know," she acknowledged. "But we were married for 19 years. We raised children together. Doesn't that count for anything?" Dominic studied the woman he had once loved beyond reason. It counted for everything. "That's why your betrayal was unforgivable. People make mistakes, Dominic. Terrible ones. But they can change, they can learn. Some betrayals are too fundamental," he interrupted. "Some broken things can't be repaired." Tears welled in Allison's eyes. "So that's it? 2 decades together, and we end as strangers." "We end as what you made us," Dominic corrected. A cautionary tale. After she left, Dominic stared out the window at the city skyline, feeling neither victory nor vindication, only a quiet certainty that he had protected what mattered: his dignity, his future, and his children's understanding of consequences. That evening, as he prepared dinner with Preston and Cassandra in their new home, watching his children laugh together for the first time in months, Dominic realized that while some fires destroy everything they touch, others, the right kind, purify and make way for new growth. The betrayal had cost him his marriage, his illusions, and his blind trust in others. But in their place, he had built something stronger, a life defined by his own terms, relationships based on earned trust rather than obligation, and a legacy that transformed personal pain into purpose. As Preston proposed a toast to new beginnings, Dominic raised his glass in agreement. Some endings, he had learned, are just better beginnings in disguise. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.